top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, in the event you are pondering and wondering if there will be Straight Talk, yes, Straight Talk is live and lively, and time for me to bid you a very pleasant night to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and to all those throughout the Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and Nibijan diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to the World Wide Web or who are logged on to zizonline.com. And I know that some of you are in Africa, some of you are in Europe, there's some of you in Asia, and there are a whole lot of you right here all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good afternoon, and I will say good morning, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, my Straight Talk family, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I must apprise you as well that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded to call, the number is 465-2555, that's the local number, and or the overseas line is 718-577-2916. For those who, I'd like to say, wish the cloak of anonymity be provided by giving you access to our email platform, which is zizstraightttalk, that's straight talk at gmail.com. And my Straight Talk family, we started a bit late, and I want to apologize for that. I know they say sometimes it's better late than never, but I really want to start early, and I beg your forgiveness for this tardy start. So what? I want to go into our focus for tonight, and I wish to focus tonight on leadership in St. Kitts and Nevis. And with your indulgence, I will look at leadership in business, leadership in the church, and of course leadership in politics. And when we consider leadership in business, names like Warren Tyson, George Gilanders, Will Kelsick, may they all rest in peace, so too Charles Brisbane, Michael King, Kishu Shandarami, may he also rest in peace, and men like Michael Morton, who have all made significant contributions to the advancement of business and the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. And left to carry on their mantle are people like Earl Kelly, Anthony Kelsick, Giselle Matthew, and Kishu's grandson, I think his name is Amir, just to name a few, my Straight Talk family. There are many leaders in the church who have played their part in relation to the spiritual and social uplifting of our people, including men of the cloth such as Archdeacon Walker, may he rest in peace, Canon Percival, Archdeacon Smithson and Hodge, Reverend Witchley Gums, I think his name, from Anguilla on the Methodist Church. And for my own church, I think of leaders like our past superintendent Elroy Christopher, Algernon Lewis, Reverend Algernon Lewis, and our past superintendent as well, Hilton Joseph, to name a few, who have paved the theological path, I say, in St. Kitts and Nevis. And their those left to carry on this leadership, like pastors or acting superintendent Irvin Lewis in the Moravian Church, and Superintendent Christmas at the Methodist Church, and at crucial times, and the churches, as a matter of fact, at crucial times, leadership in the church made its voice heard. Leadership in the church made its voice heard and offered to assist at times at times when there was difficulty in the federation, and they offered their service to assist in being a buffer between the government and the opposition. And I think of 2014, when the church offered such assistance in terms of finding solution between the problems here in St. Kitts, my Straight Dog family, like this one.
Perhaps the Christian Council Evangelical Association at this time may be used as a kind of a buffer if, it is thought that this might be the way to go. We can take the initiative, other parties can take the initiative in having us share in the experience of trying to deal with this situation as it is, because it is getting more and more grave and perhaps more and more acrimonious, and we cannot aggravate the situation any further.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, the churches, or the church's leadership baton, I should say, has now been passed on to younger men of the cloth, such as Archdeacon Isaiah Prophet Philip, Canon Cassius, Acting Superintendent Irvin Warner, and Superintendent Christmas, whom I mentioned earlier. But oh my gosh, how could I omit the evangelical leadership and religious pioneers that went before, like pastors of the Baptist Church, William Connor and Kelvin Jones? They cannot be forgotten. There are those who are still toiling in the theological vineyard, like Bishops Henville and Cyprian Williams, Pastors Matthew Lincoln Connor Pinto Williams, Matthew Hepburn, and many others. And we at Straight Talk thank them all, past and present, for their sterling leadership. What about leadership in politics and or government? Leadership in politics helps to influence the behavior of the people of a nation. In our case, the people of this federation, according to Jerome Tylard, Associate Professor of Finance at Babson College, who said, and I quote, "With good leadership, you can create a vision and can motivate people to make it a reality. Leadership matters, and today, in these unprecedented times, I submit that leadership matters more than ever." When we think of our past political leaders going back to adult suffrage, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla has been blessed with great leaders. And we won't spend time on political party leaders unless we can prove that they have made some notable contribution to the building of this, our beloved federation. In the state of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, we can think of Ronald Webster, who fought and won the battle for the dignity and pride of the Anguillan people, my Straight Dog family. We go back to the 60s.
In early 1967, as Great Britain was finalizing its plans to create the three-island associated state of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, its planners ignored the traditional hostility that existed between the tiny and poor island of Anguilla and St. Kitts, the larger and richer island located 70 miles due south. Anguilla was unlike other Caribbean islands in that it was flat, arid, and rocky, and it had no sugar plantations or agriculture of any other kind with which to sustain an economy. As a result, nobody had ever really wanted the island, and over the years, nobody, including England, had really known what to do with it. So it had been connected, as if on life support, to St. Kitts for more than 100 years. Conditions on Anguilla were deplorable. It had no public electricity, no public pier, decrepit schools and medical facilities, hardly any paved roads, and it had been without telephone service ever since Hurricane Donna made a direct hit on the tiny island in 1960. In fact, in a New York Review of Books article titled Anguilla, the Shipwrecked 6000, Sir Vivian I. Paul said that Anguilla was like a mistake, a tiny colony set adrift. It was, he said, part of the jetsam of an empire. So when Britain set February 27th of 1967 as statehood day for the trio of islands, it effectively forced the Anguillians to begin contemplating a future that all but guaranteed many more years of abuse and neglect under the heel of Robert Bradshaw, the much-hated tyrant from St. Kitts who had prevented them from escaping the backwaters of degradation and domination simply because they had voted against him when he was elected to power. When they learned that he had held a critical meeting on St. Kitts about Anguilla's future, that he deliberately chose not to invite a single representative from Anguilla to the meeting, emotions erupted, and the islanders, led by Ronald Webster, began to stage protests aimed at convincing the Queen to undo what absolutely needed to be undone.
And that is history, Ronald Webster. We can think of Robert Bradshaw, our first national hero and first Premier of St. Kitts Nevis. Bradshaw made an indelible mark as he championed the rights of the poor man and ordinary workers in St. Kitts Nevis. We can think of Paul Southwell, our second national hero and the first chief minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, who promoted the tourism and trade industry in our country. Lee Llewellyn Moore was short-lived as Premier of St. Kitts Nevis and never got the opportunity to demonstrate his academic and other talents he possessed. Lee Moore, I submit, learned the hard way that politics is a dirty game. We can think of our only living national hero, Sir Kennedy Simmons, who headed the first coalition of parties on St. Kitts and Nevis. Sir Kennedy headed the PAM NRP coalition government in 1980. We can also think of Simeon Daniel, Sir Simeon Daniel, I should say, the leader of NRP on Nevis, who joined with PAM on St. Kitts, and as the father of Nevis, he was the architect of the modern Nevis, or I can say the autonomous Nevis, my straight dog family. That we give credit to Simeon Daniel, or the late Sir Simeon.
We had pipes but no water. We had some who had telephones, who had instruments, and you didn't know if you would get a call. And there were very few instruments in the village where I grew up in Zion. You had electricity off and on. We had roads, but sometimes you had more holes than actual roads. And when you wanted a top job, you had to go to St. Kitts. That's why people like Suswin Mills and those people ended up in St. Kitts. Whole set of divisions ended up in St. Kitts. But come self-government in Nevis after 1980, when we joined with the PAM to form the government, the people of Nevis saw a totally different Nevis. Own government, own ministers, roads, water, electricity, jobs, good paying jobs for people at home, and the sixth form college, which has had a profound effect on the lives of Nevisians. No longer were we sending 4 students to St. Kitts to go to the sixth farm in St. Kitts. Nowadays, we have more than 100 going to sixth farm in Nevis. All of those because we joined up with PAM in 1980.
Yes, my straight dog family. That was the work of the father of Nevis, Sir Simeon Daniel. We can think of Vance Amory, who took Nevis to a higher level, and although, ironically, he tried to lead Nevis into secession, Vance Amory subsequently became the voice of balance and reason in the Team Unity administration, and he will always be remembered for that.
So I want to say thank you several times. Well, Vance and me were there when we did some of the canvassing in Newtown, in West Bastia in number 4. So I want to thank him. He's one of the most gifted politicians in terms of people interaction. Give Ambassador Vance Amy a special hand of welcome.
Yes, Vance Amy. We can think as well of Joseph Barry, who as Premier stood firm in the representation of his Nevisian people and wanted to be leader of Nevis and Nevis only. And that was the strong position of Premier Parry.
I am the Premier of Nevis. I want to be the Premier of Nevis and the Premier of Nevis only. I want to do what's best for the island of Nevis. That is why, as leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, I'm running for the governmental office in Nevis and in Nevis only. These are not the 80s and 90s. We are living, ladies and gentlemen, this 2013, and each leader must have as his focus the best interest of his island. Others have their sights set firmly on bigger things. Nevis, it will appear, is but a sideshow for them. I insist that we on this beautiful island of Nevis and the thousands of Nevisians resident abroad deserve better. We need, in these difficult times, full-time leadership of Nevis.
Full-time leadership of Nevis. That, according to Parry, is what he wanted to offer. We can also think of Mark Brantley, the current Premier of Nevis and member of the Team Unity Cabinet. But Brantley never shies away when it comes to defending the people of Nevis. That is just the man, but he is strong with unity.
Nevis is with unity, and unity is with Nevis.
Nevis is with unity, and unity is with Nevis. We can think of the leader of the People's Action Movement and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Kenneth Richards, who led PAM out of the doldrums in 2015 and now has the ambitious goal to be the first Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis from Sandy Point. That is the goal of Sean Richards.
I have one more political goal to deliver on. One more political goal to deliver on. And that is to be not the next Prime Minister, but the first Prime Minister that Sandy Point has produced.
First Prime Minister that Sandy Point has produced. That's the goal of the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Sean Kenneth Richards. Yes, we must also think about Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, the Right Honorable Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, our longest serving Prime Minister, who, I submit, meant well and did well in the early days of his prime ministership. But it is widely believed that because of the power of incumbency, Douglas got lost along the way and was never prepared, it seemed, to take responsibility for crime in particular that spiraled out of control. Also, our national debt, which nearly crippled our federation. The Right Honorable Denzel Douglas inherited the property of our people, our heritage, and according to him, it was his time now to distribute that property. It was his time now to distribute that property. Seemed to have lost that. His time now to distribute that property? Did he? We haven't asked ourselves, my straight dog family, but he never did. It was his time now, as I said, and this is what he said back then, my straight dog family, about our property.
Let us look at what we're doing, for example, with our sugar lands. In this country, in the past, these lands were owned by just about 5 families. St. Kitts and Nevis was one big sugar estate. In fact, we have 68 square miles. We had 68 sugar estates here in this country. My government, proud of its record in the past, in the 70s, 75 in particular, nationalized the entire sugar industry. And so the lands were taken in the name of the people. Of course, they were paid. The planters who owned it, they were paid. Mr. Bradshaw, our first national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, he did that act. It is now my time to distribute those lands.
Yes, with a little bit of inaccuracy. Nonetheless, the students of political history will tell you whether Douglas did a good job in distributing our patrimony, our land. We are therefore left to think of no other leader but the leader of the Team Unity Administration and Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris, who is also the leader of the People's Labour Party and who is in the right place at the right time in our history. The Team Unity Administration is a cabinet of a coalition government in which 3 parties still continue to cooperate. When one examines the arrangement, it is fair to say that no party on its own can achieve a majority in the parliament. The PAM, for example, only contested 5 seats in the last elections, whereas PLP contested the other 3 seats on St. Kitts, whereas the CCM contested all 3 seats on Nevis. Recall that this coalition government was created in a time of national difficulty, when, for example, crime seemed to have been the order of the day. Remember that there was also a financial crisis within the Federation that eventually required an IMF bailout. Furthermore, the incumbent government was facing a motion of no confidence, which it failed to table in nigh 2 years, and this did not give the government the concentration of perceived political legitimacy it needed and or desired, because even within its own ranks, there was increasing internal political strife. This gave rise to what I call the tripartite coalition we now have, which is called a national unity government, or to some, a government of national unity. The longest, or the youngest, I should say, political party, the PLP, in this coalition, held its 4th convention last Saturday, the 28th of March, 2021. The private session for the party delegates was held on Friday, March 26, at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel, or Friday, March 27th, I think it is. Am I right? No, I think it's Friday, March 26th, at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel at 6 p.m. And at this caucus, the executive of the party was elected to serve. Yesterday must be a day, or must have been a day, to recommit to the leader of the People's Labour Party, and in fact the leader of our blessed Federation and Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris. And this came from CCM's Latoya Jones, who brought greetings from Nevis, my straight dog family.
Family, a pleasant good afternoon. Come, we can do better than that. I need my colleagues in Nevis to hear you. My PLP family, a pleasant good afternoon. That's more like it. It is with a great sense of excitement that I stand here before you to celebrate another milestone, your 4th annual National Convention, and to bring you special greetings and solidarity on behalf of my party, your sister party, the Big Blue Machine, the indomitable Concerned Citizens Movement. The Concerned Citizens Movement, under the leadership of Premier Mark A.G. Bradley, rallies with you as you continue to excel in your endeavors to put people first. PLP, we are united with you. We have a common goal. We have a common purpose. We have a shared vision and a shared destiny. We do believe, as you do, that the people of this country should and will always come first. There was a time in your history when one would have looked at the size of your party and cast their judgment on how great of a party you would one day become. Some doubted your ability to carry this great party to victory. Now, a few years later, look at the People's Labour Party. You have 2 formidable elected candidates sitting in National Assembly. Though your party is young in years, you are advanced in experience and accomplishments. And I must say that you have had lots of accomplishments. When we speak of progress, we think of PLP. Do you agree? Yes, let's make some noise. When we speak of great vision, we think of PLP. When we speak of women empowerment, we think of PLP. That's facts. Look at Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet. And when we think of the advancement of our people, we think of PLP. The growth that we have seen of PLP over the last few years must be appreciated, recognized, and commended. In the last federal election, your party accomplished a mission that many thought was impossible. There were those who thought that the great Calypsonian, who proclaimed himself as an unstoppable force, could not be defeated. All the pundits, analysts, and Monday morning quarterbacks thought that beating him was mission impossible. But in came your mighty champion, a strong and powerful woman who, like the historic Joan of Arc, gave the Calypsonian a crushing defeat. My PLP people, that's the strength of Aquila. That's woman's power.
I give it up for the woman.
Your party, the mighty People's Labour Party, has also given our nation a phenomenal leader. A leader who is astute, fearless, and decisive. During our darkest hour with Corona, when all hope seemed lost, it was your leader, our Prime Minister, who captained the ship of state and sailed it to calm and safer waters.
Yes, that leader is Dr. Harris, astute, according to Latoya Jones. Note that I said earlier, the youngest party and not the smallest. And guest speaker Dr. McNichol explained that very well, as there is no such thing as junior and senior party in a coalition, no such thing as a larger or smaller party, neither stronger or weaker party. There is no such thing, as she put it, as my turn in any coalition. And she did put that very well, Dr. McNichol.
I want to raise before wrapping up is the issue of, in understanding coalitions, you have to understand that there's no such thing as it is my turn. Leadership doesn't work that way. I must tell you right now, this is a gross misconception that seems to resonate in people's mind, that if we have a three-party coalition and one party got it this round, the next one's supposed to get it the next round. This is not how it works. The coalition survives on the strength of the leadership. And if the leadership is not up to the standard of what a nation needs to take it through, then you have to recognize that there is in fact no such thing as another party's turn. In that same vein, I said this the last time I spoke here, that there is no such thing as a junior and senior party in a coalition. You have 5 seats, I have 3 seats, therefore I am senior. No, it doesn't work. Without my 1, 2, you could not have gotten there. In a coalition, every single party is equal.
Every single party is equal. Dr. McNichol went on to explain why this current team unity administration works. And she had this to say.
Uncertainty in the year 2020 when you did not have to do that. There is no price for this kind of leadership. But it makes me wonder and say, why is it this partnership, the Team Unity partnership, with the leadership of a PLP leader, how is it the coalition work? By the way, it's the first in the region that went beyond the first term. We have had many attempts at coalition, and something happened that allowed me to understand why is it this coalition worked. We know the leadership must have played a significant role. I'm going to raise an issue without getting into any details. It doesn't mean that the coalition did not have challenges in the first term. They did, and any political party all political parties have challenges, but they worked it out together. As they entered their second term, as I said, I'm not going into the detail. I want you to understand the response of this leader to this challenge that happened within the first 2 days of the second term, and I'll end it there. His response was so sterling, so sensitive, so unselfish, that it led me to understand for the first time why coalitions didn't work in the region other than St. Kitts and Nevis. You know why? When problems and challenges are directed to the leaders of coalition parties, their response is a high-handed one. Their response is one of aggression and anger to anyone who dare challenge them. You know what was this Prime Minister's response? I said to him, how are you feeling? You know, the psychologist in me always go with, how are you feeling? Are you disappointed? Are you? And he said, you know what? It's not about me. It's about a nation. He said, we just came out of an election, grueling election. People felt happy, they felt safe. They know they were going to be safe. Another 5 years, and then this happened, and he said, I have to make sure that they are okay. I said, well, what about you? He said, I have to also make sure that the persons who might have diverged and gotten involved in a different way of operating, that they are okay too. That is the essence of this man. Now, I will just zip through some of the obvious qualities that leadership must be embodied in any person.
And that's the leadership of the man. And one more thing was raised that I'll bring to you before I open my lines, the Straight Dog family. And that's the issue of 2 terms raised by Dr. McNichol. Very interesting perspective she also brought.
But as I wind down, there are 2 issues I have to raise. It's more questions for this nation, a blessed nation you are, indeed. Now, the issue of 2 terms, I'm raising it for you to start considering it. We're a long way off from that, a good 4 years before we have to think of anything else. But I also know that I had asked Dr. Harris, seeing the condition with COVID and other things, I said, listen, if it is that it comes down to a situation that you are needed as a 3rd term, and he quickly said to me, he said, you know, I made a commitment to 2 terms, and it is important that we honor what we say and what we do. And while I get that, you have no idea what it is like to live in a country where, I'm telling you, when my daughter goes out with her husband in the night, I'm scared. My husband and I are worried, and she's out with her husband because of crime. It scares me that I can get a call. She's in a high upscale area in some social event, and I can get a call that's it. You don't have that worry. Gosh, and this is why, Dr. Harris, I have to ask you now, you got to not be so rigidly constrained in this position of the 2 term beyond the 2 term.
It's so amazing to see my people living in harmony.
When you are gifted from God with certain special talents and gifts of leadership of this magnitude that you have displayed, you have a responsibility to understand what that means. It may mean if a country and a nation so grateful wants you to go again, you have to not rule it out. I get it. I get this business of loyalty and the business of honoring your word, but I need you to consider that. And I know that the wider society would want you to consider that as well. Another thing that I want to raise before wrapping up is the issue of, in understanding coalitions, you have to understand that there's no such thing as it is my turn. Leadership doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. My Straight Dog family, we can't go on and on. But Akila Byron Nisbet, or the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, who made history in number 3, reminded the audience that the People's Labour Party is the true Labour Party.
For the people of St. Kitts, because we're moving St. Kitts upward and forward on that Team Unity administration. But convention, our focus in the PLP has always been on a better future for our working people. Only the People's Labour Party truly represents the values and aspiration of our working people. We are the true Labour Party, the People's Labour Party.
What do you think, my Straight Dog family? It's minutes to 9 o'clock. It's time to hear from you. I have extended my own monologue, if I can call it that, for tonight, my own introduction. because I wanted to capture and reflect on the leadership in St. Kitts and Nevis. Leadership of the past and leadership of the present. And to educate in particular our younger folk in our listening audience or viewing audience. Because leadership, as I say, matters. Leadership at this particular moment in time is critical, my Straight Dog family. With good leadership, you can create a vision and can motivate people to make that vision a reality. Leadership matters today, in particular during these unprecedented times, these times of complexity and uncertainty. I believe that leadership matters more than ever. At 7:09, I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. I must first of all implore you that when I do so in a few seconds, I anticipate that you will respect others, and of course to achieve that you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to our concern. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things you say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, my Straight Dog family, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 9 o'clock, and I will open the lines, entertain your calls and your emails. And as I said, it's your turn now. At 7:09, caller, you are live.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Enzing. A blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, all the family?
I am peaceful, my dear brother. And yourself? How are you and your
family? Good, man. I'm good, man. And the clan is good, too, brother. But let me just briefly touch on things. It ain't going to be no more than about 5 seconds, and then I get to the issue at hand. But I know there's a vacancy, correct me if I'm wrong, concerning the Consul General in New York. There's an exceptional brother who is now the diaspora officer, Thomas Alva Pemberton. That brother should be promoted to that position. But I will elaborate another time on that. And brother, with Dr. Hilary Beckles, the great Dr. Hilary Beckles, who they want to remove as Vice Chancellor of UE, beloved. The Chancellor of Bermudas and the report that they had. I will deal with that another time, beloved. Let me get to the matter. Beloved, brother, let me say, when it comes to politics, brother, politics, Robert Bradshaw, bittersweet, who reigned terror and his political opponents, and the Rastafari movement in the 70s. I was a victim of that, and many others, beloved. Move on, beloved. When it comes to the People's Action Movement, beloved, I didn't hear you mention the great Dr. William, a.k.a. Billy Herbert, and Mr. Michael Oliver Powell, beloved. Forget those two individuals, beloved. When it comes, and Mary Eugenia Charles was a pioneer, beloved. Trailblazer in politics as a woman, beloved. And here you mentioned that, beloved. Didn't mention that, beloved. When it comes to business, as an African person, the magnanimous Richard Kane Sr., a dear man, brother, pioneering businessman, beloved, self-made millionaires. That's just a thing, you know. Beloved, this brother built an empire. The first person who had a rental business, I remember as a child, 70s, Mini Moke, and then he elevated himself, became one of the greatest mechanic the Federation ever seen, beloved. And in politics too, don't forget he was one of the original founders of the People's Action Movement, and Dr. Simmons too, beloved. And let me deal with that, the great Dr. Simmons, beloved brother, very intelligent man, one of the most intelligent man, come out, intelligent individual, come out to St. Kitts and Nevis, beloved brother, Dr. Simmons, man, beloved brother, our first Prime Minister, and our only living national hero. And let me say Mr. Paul Southwell also, beloved, a man, good man, decent man, and the Honorable, the great Simeon Daniel, beloved. But I could go on and on, but I know someone else wants to speak, beloved. So, but let me someone else speak, continue to listen. Pan-Africanism our Paris, one love, my beloved. You on the rock, beloved?
Yes, I am, my brother.
You can't run and hide, you know. Remember, I got contacts in every corner. That's just how I says the humor. Beloved, continue to listen, man. One love, beloved.
One love, my brother. Always straightforward and assertive with your points. And that's what Straight Talk is all about, in terms of exchanging or having or entertaining, I should say, our diverse views. But it's 1 before 9 o'clock. We go back to the lines, and we were actually looking at the leaders of our country, and not necessarily the leaders of the political parties, unless, as I said, they made some notable contribution to the country on a whole. But let's go back to the lines at 1 before 9. Caller, you are live.
Good night to the Ambassador Ian Patches there, about representing us at the United Nations. Doing a good job always. Now, Patches, I want to thank God for this Team Unity government that we elect in 2015. And they serve what the 5 years and serve the people well, and we elect them back again in 2020. And I want to commend the leader of Team Unity, Dr. Timothy Harris, and the cabinet, because I believe that they're doing a wonderful job. And I believe that this unity government is the only unity government in the world that stand up as a unity and representing the people and together. They might have different issues, Patches, in cabinet, we work out things or whatever. But I hear a lot of things, you know. But I want to tell the people of this nation that, Minister Politics, I was loyal to political party here in this federation of St. Kitts Nevis, and a blind loyalty to the party, but no longer a blind loyalty to the political party. When I see good and see representative, I come out and I say whatever, and I do whatever. We had a situation with different government in, and people were talking about that they need to get rid of PAM, the permanent labor. People get set up on the permanent labor. People get set up on the permanent labor, and we need to get something new. Now we get a PLP party, and the leader of the PLP party represented this country tremendously. That is where else think it won. What else we want, especially under this COVID-19 time. The situation we're in right now. Nobody is starving. Nobody died from the corona. You understand? Each one help one. And now the vaccine come. People got a problem issue with the vaccine. But what is I telling you plain now? If the Douglas government the Douglas party in government. I go to the Douglas party because I'm not a Labour party in government. All of who are going to take vaccine, they don't go take it. They use in politics. And not the PLP, now the CCM, now the Labour, or the People Labour Party, and from they create the corona. The corona create by whatever. Up to now, certain people don't even know how to create. But anyway, God knows that we don't have no debt, we don't have nothing here affecting us from the corona only because the tolls are come to the country, the economy in a shambles. But what is regard to that because we are God's country. So all who feel like they could drive bread and break up the community, let them do it. Let them do it. Dr. House is doing a good job. And if he don't say so to term, what is? And if the people them want him for second term, third term, you understand? I do it, he had left to the people. And he had left up to Dr. House, what is? What is, you have a God bless night? And what people want to say, because I know this team unity government has done well. And I don't see no other unity government. Trinidad Church, our coronation church, and the negative work. All these St. Christopher get this work. That's what is the God bless. That is very wonderful, God bless.
Have a wonderful night as well, my dear only in St. Christopher. Let's go back to the lines at 9:04. Call you live.
Good evening, Honorable Patrick Liburd, Ambassador. Now, on Saturday, we had a beautiful convention, lovely convention. I have to recommend the lady from Nevis, also the young man who represents PAM too. I think they was really on the ball. But the lady from Nevis steals the show until the main speaker come up to finish it off. But at the same time, we are trying to keep a unity party together, right? There come one leaders of the party is up and down parading himself with a so-called opposition leader and fellow attorney general. You know, I don't think that set a good example for people in the state of St. Christopher and Nevis who watching and see what's going on with these politics. It do not set a good example. It's a time for everything. You cannot do those kind of things and figure you could step on people, morals, and heart, and bring them to a failure. You can't do that. And I looking at this politics, and when I ready to let go, I gonna let go. I don't care who hurt me. I done been hurt before. You understand me? So if not, I ready now to go to my grave. So who want to hurt me worse, they could hurt me worse. But when you in a collision party, is none bigger than none. Everybody is the same equal. It's just like your patches. Up in your town, people say you ain't do nothing for your town. Right? But you do for the whole of the country. Because you ain't come up there, sit down with them and bring out a bottle of rum every night and play domino and play card when you're busy working. You understand me? To make sure the island perform good and good road, good housing, good everything that you could have put on the map for the St. Kitts and Nevis. So you never worry. And only show you, as the election done, you see what they do to you. You see what they do to you. So don't take your eyes off on nobody. You understand me? You're the strong man and you're the brave man. And you see the Prime Minister there, he don't talk much. but don't let him get away. Don't let him get away. He absorbing everything. Don't think he got a ton. He absorbing everything. He seeing everything and know what is going on in this beloved country of his. You understand me? Patches, if I have to come back, I have to come back. But I want to tell you, you left out Albaco. You know, and for Nabu, I want to let him know the lady in Dominica was cutting all the rest of man here. Okay? So don't talk about Mr. Bracho. The woman in Dominica was cutting the ear. Okay. God bless you all.
God bless you. The People's King, yes, was Mary Eugenia Charles. We experienced that as a band when we went to Dominica as well. The Rastaman had no say or stay in Dominica. It's 9:08. As we go back to the lines, our caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear brother, Jam Down.
How are you, Patches? Patches, we had a lovely convention over at the PLP convention. Well supposed. And the lady from Trinidad, she was so dynamite. I guess she put the nails them in the coffin. Because we getting some creeping dictator moving around, chatting a lot of nonsense. And lady deal with them one. I guess she was listening. I think she stayed in Trinidad and listening to the politics tentatively. That is, I sit down over there and enjoy everything. Oh boy, that Prime Minister, he ain't away, no. And I go in the 11 to support Shah next month, God willing, because not one of them will mash up this unity government. According to politics, we tired of where we were seeing for almost 100 years, and we went on the road with that. We want a unity government to run this country. The people's life matters, the children, them life matters, and Dr. Harris will set the tone in this country. We're letting him go. We got to make a decision with the 82. And that will speak for itself, because I know he's going to get back there. So we know he's going to take a break and give them fairness. Because that will reach back. He's talented. As the woman rightly said, he's talented and he ain't going nowhere. I want to say briefly that the people of the Caribbean will support Hillary Beckers all the way. Even we got to demonstrate last year. Me and Africa, we will. Because the pentacracy from England down to Barbados, bouncing off in the Caribbean and going to walk with Hillary for what he do. The only black man take the university and put a wing outside of Barbados, and a chancellor trying to fight them. Why say you be here? I believe he's an Englishman, he be. We ain't going against Hillary Beckers. And we have seen great leaders come out of Barbados. Come out of Syntax. But Denzel Douglas is the worst. But he come to give back land. You see him? The nonsense he used to come telling us to come give back land. These guys, Robert Bracho, another man, Liburd, the man fight for the land. He man fight for the land and pay for the land. And he talk about he come to distribute land. But you can't spend the money again. Not you. We want back some more money, you know. Please give back the children them in the village the money. Bring back the money. We want the money. You want back some more money. We have the uranium to build, the MIS Hall. We have the community center to give back this people the lunch. We want back the money. We want that money. But yes, Syntax people gotta understand what they have. We ain't going back down the road. We want a unity government to set the trend. We want leaders, not dictators and grabbers of money. We want leaders That's what we want. It's a pity ISIS Saturday gone. He tried to take the little piece of land we actually own the voices. He just tried the peace for the state. He just tried the peace for the state. That is all a good night. And I hope that we see you soon. We want
I look forward to that. I look forward to that, my brother. And you take care of yourself as well. It's 12 past the 9 o'clock hour. I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Patrick, good night.
Good night, my dear Jackie.
Patrick, I just
Warrior
want
from
to
the
say
east.
to everybody.
Warrior from the east.
I'm so glad I'm from the east and I'm from Newton. Patrick, the lady from Nevis was good. But they had nothing on the Prime Minister, so they're trying to bring up all kind of thing. Patrick, I listened to a show Friday and even today. And one of them saying that the Prime Minister must stop the boasting. The Prime Minister ain't boasting on nothing what he have. Neither house, money, nor riches. He boasting on what he done and what he doing. If you that tailor, barber, baker, contractor, and you're doing good job and people giving you praise, of course you're going to boast. When he ain't boasting on riches. So Prime Minister, keep on boasting on what you're done and what you're doing. And I'm going to help you boast. And who he hot? Good governance. They come out, they can't get it. Good governance, Patrice. I watched the thing all Saturday and it was very, very good. And Patrice, you see me?
Of course I saw you.
You watch me? You not cheer, you not cheer the body. Good governance. By that was the hot, you know. When I finish our conversation, I must end it with that. Who is hot? He hot. Good governance. Patrice, good night. And good night to everybody. Prime Minister, you want to study them, they're nothing on you. They just bring up all kind of thing. One of them, they saying the Prime Minister boasting. He run in a consistency for how much years. He ain't left nothing for nobody boast on. And he can't even boast. When they ask him, he think he say he going go help the one in his bath, he ain't from the village. So let the Prime Minister boast. The Prime Minister boasting on what he doing and what he done and what he doing. He ain't boasting on the riches. So Prime Minister keep on boasting. Good governance. We hot. Patrick, good night. Bye.
Good night, my dear. Boasting on his performance. Let's go back to the lines at 15 past 9. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Patrick. This is Dumpling.
Good night, my dear.
Patrick.
Lillian Banners.
This is Dumpling. I want the whole world to hear Dumpling. Patrick.
Yes, Dumpling.
I went down in town this afternoon, right? To pick up a little stuff. And I went on a supermarket on the very road, right? And a big man Indian walking. And the Indian abusing the lady from Trinidad. Now the woman is an intelligent nurse saying the Prime Minister right. The woman's speech. He and another man. I had to be in. I said, boy, something else says. Why you gonna be saying that about the woman? But the woman can't write her own speech. The Prime Minister ain't write none for the woman. But you see, the man there, you see the man there? That is the only one who call the people supermarket. You understand? But everybody know him because he's from Connery. When you can't do as you like with the government, he try to bring them down. But you can't bring down this one here. He just said all kind of things about the man and about the woman, and he ain't not the woman. The woman gives she no speech. I had to dip in and tell him what I had to say. So before I get here, and God rested me, I just leave him and check the things and walk out. You understand? That is, this is Dumpling. If I get back in, I get back in. See you. Love you. The convention was good. I was love it.
Thank you very much, Lydia Dumpling Manners. Always speaks your mind. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, it's 917, you're live.
I'm on.
Yes, you're live.
Good night. How are you?
I am peaceful. Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Always. Ha ha! What a convention. What a speech by the lady. What a prime minister. Not to term. Who don't want him leave. He did not send the money away. See you.
Straight and to the point. As I said, sound like Alice in Wonderland. I believe that Dumpling can laugh sweeter. Caller, you're live.
Patrick, a pleasant good evening, good night, Marshall here. How are you?
How are you? I am peaceful, Marshall. Is that my family, Marshall?
Yes, it is, right here.
How art thou?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I had a fabulous weekend. I had a fabulous weekend with my Prime Minister, you know. We had our convention on Saturday. It was wow. It was a big wow. It was excellent, Patrick. Anyhow,
I didn't see you though.
Yeah?
I didn't see you though.
I was right in all orange. My orange was too bright. That's why you can tell me.
Maybe you were by the dignitaries. I didn't recognize you.
Yeah, I was right there guarding my Prime Minister as usual. I'm his bodyguard.
Okay, my dear. So you had a wonderful time.
Well, I tell you that it was very hype, very good, very good. The guest speaker, the lady, was very great. She spoke from me. What a crowd to say tonight, Patrice. I was listening. I was driving a vehicle today, and somehow the person leave on the radio a radio station there. Well, I don't listen right now because I don't really like to listen it sometimes because it just hurt me out and irritate me, so I don't tend to listen. Right? However, I heard them tearing down the lady, saying that the lady was she didn't quarantine. But I don't work at the quarantine site, but I heard the lady said she was quarantined for 14 days, and she also said that when she go back to Trinidad, she's going to quarantine for 1 week in Trinidad. So I really don't know what the surroundings was today on the radio. I don't know if you must be saying having a lot of people who don't get the facts straight and they don't know what's going on in the country. They need to go on Facebook and they need to research some more. Anyhow, Mr. Patrick, I just want to say that the Prime Minister is doing, my Prime Minister and your Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of this Federation has been doing a tremendous job for them almost 6 years. June going to make 6 years. Here he is Prime Minister and he's doing a tremendous job. And I want to congratulate him for the job that he is doing so far. And I know that God have him here. I want to echo the same sentiment that Lady echo. God have him here for such a time as this, to bring us through this COVID. Because I don't know, Patrick, if it was not for the Prime Minister here, I don't know what, some of us, as I said before, that some country get salary deduction. Some people had, some people get half, some people had salary reduction, and some people, stimulus package was very low. But thank God, the Prime Minister, Team Unity Government, the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, has been steering the ship good. So he's steering the ship good and we enjoy. And we still on the line of living and we still battling and we still getting it every month. So I want to congratulate the Team Unity Government and also congratulate my Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, for a tremendous job that he is doing for almost 6 years. Okay, Mr. Patrick?
Have yourself a wonderful night, my dear, and take care of yourself. And as you were saying, yesterday was a vote of confidence in the leadership of the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris. The way he handled the COVID, or he is handling the COVID pandemic, the way he dealt with crime and the economy. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
A most pleasant good night to you, Mr. Liburd. How are you doing?
I am peaceful, my dear warrior from the East.
Tell the boys and the girls back home in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Jacqueline and all of them, they didn't have me down, because I enjoy the convention too in St. Thomas too, okay? I listen to the whole convention and I enjoy it too. So they didn't have me down. Tell them I'm on the ball, okay? This woman here on the ball. And my sweetest joke with the Prime Minister is when his sister say there's half a child. And the father say, anybody gonna half a child? And he say, just try whole child or not child at all. Tell Prime Minister I love him to death. I love him to death. God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We just had 26 COVID deaths there late last week. So you all please stay safe. I love you all. Whenever everything is good, Patricia will be coming home to visit. Okay, for now, I good. Take care. Love the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister, keep up a good work. You and your team, God bless you all. And to all my girls and my boys, Jacqueline and everybody, you all stay focused. We're going to stay focused. Love you, Patches.
Love you more, Patricia. Stay safe. That's my warrior from the East, Patricia. Caller, you're live.
Yes. Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Liburd, and good evening to everyone all around the globe who tuned into this program. Patches, what a wonderful convention. Even though physically, I did not get there physically, but my ears, nose, eye, everything was tuned into it. And let me tell you something, Patches. Who God bless. No man in this world here cause. None. Look at what's going to happen Good Friday. All of those naysayers from Lawyer Button-Up to Kunumunu Governor to Apiton Roman Bowman, Dr. Purple Ocean, and Mr. Trafman, and all of them who criticizing the Prime Minister is grudge, jealousy, and envy got them. How can you criticize somebody who is doing such a perfect, wonderful job that person is being admired and recognized worldwide by great countries in this world? They acknowledge the performance of this man leading this country, and I don't see what them jokers come talking about the woman right. I mean the woman the Harris right speech for woman. Evil think as evil does. None of them could have speak like that woman. So that's the reason why they're saying it. And Mr. Lawyer Button-Up, he is the one who started all them foolishness about the Prime Minister and Parliament money and campaign money and all them things there. But let Mr. Lawyer Button-Up go down Cranston. That thing that when you say down, they were signed down Cranston. Pick the beam out of the eye before they come and jump on the Prime Minister and the government and you Patches and all who they want to bring down. But I want to tell them, you talk about leaders tonight of the countries. Leaders. And when I hear Mr. Parry say that he is the Prime Minister the Premier for Nevis and Nevis only, I said, well, that is love he's showing for his country. And I want people to see the difference. When Dr. Simmons realized that he lost the election tonight, you know what he said? It is incumbent that Dr. Douglas is the new leader of the country. That's a statesman. And he said he wish him all the best. Dr. Simmons said that and he did that. It's 2 elections gone since unity government in. And Douglas ain't had the statesmanship, the decency, the equity, nothing, no morality to congratulate Dr. Harris and tell him, okay, you are the successor. So, God bless, and you have a good, I wish you all the best. Not he. That man heart full of so much evil and demon in it that up to now he cannot congratulate Dr. Harris. A fine man who people all over the world respect and acknowledge the man for his wonderful job he doing. And then they come in with a foolishness, nonsense. But I could tell them, as long as me culture here could talk, and others, all of us who back in this government, we are country of ourselves, citizens. We not no long pocket people. We are not two-foot cash man people. Like all of them out there who cussing. It's because they ain't get what they want to full up the cash pan. Come the right way, man. Come the right way and apply the right way, and you will get what you want. This Prime Minister is standing up for justice and honesty. And that is what got them. But all you can't do this government nothing, because we could talk. And we're going to defeat all you because we have more than all you. Jesus went through a lot, and look on the cross again, like I said, and I can see what he went through for us. And they say all kind of manner of evil about Jesus, so what do we say about our Prime Minister? Oh, you can't stop him, you know? Oh, he getting gas so much patches. Time short, if you get back in, I get back in.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. And just for information, Dr. Sharon Ann Gopal McNichol, right, in terms of her education, has a Bachelor in Psychology, a Master of Arts in Development Psychology from Columbia University, a Master of Science in General Psychology, and a Doctor of Philosophy in Clinical Psychology since 1986, and is a professor. But let's go back to the lines. I'll tell you more about that when we come back. Caller, you are live. Thank you for holding.
Patches.
So.
Patches. Jam down again.
Yes, jam down.
Yeah, Patches. I want to let you know, that some fellas in the political parties them playing some game with this unity, and we watching them, and the game ain't walk on us, because this country wants unity. This country wants unity. So I want them to know, that people looking at them through the microscope with the game they're playing. Because they don't work here, We let them, they elect we, And we're no item in rams and up value map and cross my best smile. See? We elect them. That's all I want them to know, loud and clear. That's it. And I recognize in this country from since we left here, we cannot get things done. Elected members, it look like some of them are on the sleeve. You understand? When you was here, you was having things. Shine the Prime Minister, you could get things done, and now people are asleep. You have to know. Not one of them out of the touring gone over there by the emails them over there to promote the vaccine. Not one. But they could reach out in hotel. But let them take it easy, man. People watching them, And they won't just say, I can't give me one, you stay on your tongue, We don't want another party by unity. She can't get unity in a shop. So, it's just Douglas. It's just Douglas playing a nice ball game with them. They get wet. Have a good night, Patches. The field that knows it. This is Jamden talking here. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my brother. And yes, the convention yesterday obviously is the talk of today and will be the talk for some time to come. At 9:31, I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello. Yeah, Patches.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I am saying this to the people of Nevis. Nevis people, do not forget the person who try to set up you to go beg, or thief, and starve. Do not forget the person who refused to guarantee the check for you all to get paid. When a man walk, he must be paid. The Bible says so. And now, he running over Nevis every little chance he get. Or you don't forget him. Tell him go back down there. I don't want nothing to do with he. He don't try to kill. to starve you. And now we run over there look sympathy. From who? He ain't get it from the Nevis people. He was well quiet in Parliament, talking soft because he know what coming up for him. He know where he be. And he better cool out because he can't get away from the tax. None of them there. That is, I would like you to play the thing about the Cranston Canefield deal what was signed. Because that one there, Lawyer button up. He is the one who started all the foolishness about you and Blacks and company and the Prime Minister and all of that. Play it, let everybody know. Let everybody hear who honest and who dishonest. That is, don't mind you hear them saying that this and that, you know. Because none of them, they got nothing to show for the time that they was in government. Nothing. None, absolutely. Some of them was in there for 30-something years in politics. What they got to show? Some of them went in cheat that consumers, about 50-something people live on Church Street. And there's only about 5 people live on Church Street. And now they come talking foolishness. They have to be ashamed of themselves what they say about Dr. Douglas. That he greedy for power and he went across Nevis in the dead of night in a fishing boat and jump out, you know, when the water so deep, the man almost drowned. They say all them things about Douglas to bring him down, and now them are just about talk about we are together again, and one of them come talk about Dr. Douglas is the best thing to run this country. Are you? I think Douglas go figure where are you? Go ahead. But is there are you going to stay? Because I can't move this government. Patches time short, good night, I gone. See you Thursday.
Good night, my brother. Good night, my brother. Culture. It's 9:33. I go straight back to the lines. Right. Here's what. Let me take this email. Something is bothering me. Patches reads this email for quite a while. There are 2 clubs I'm hearing of. One at Bird Rock and the other at Limekeel. My understanding is that at those clubs, there's strip dancing, mainly by women from other Caribbean islands who are performing. Patches, can you tell the nation clearly without ambiguity, have these businesses or business places have license to conduct strip dancing? If the answer is yes, or if the answer is no, beg your pardon, what are the relevant authorities doing about it? What is strip dancing? Question relax. My straight up family, if you have joined us for the first time, tonight we focus on leadership in St. Kitts and Nevis. And with your indulgence, we looked at leadership in business, leadership in the church, and of course, leadership in politics. We pinpointed some leaders of the past and some present in the church and in business, and of course in politics. Let's go back to the lines at 9:35. Caller, you're live.
Yes. Good evening, Aaron Patches.
How are you?
I'm coming up. I'm still waiting on the things there. But what you're talking about leadership, right? In number 3, right? The people have tried to walk out King Canvas, and now they're saying that the lady who win, she took off the phone, that when they call her, she can't help them. And now they say she look at Liburd and saying that the people don't go by the land. So all the years they look there, nobody telling them must go the land. But now she is now, and they don't put it in, they ball. Because she saying that they got to buy the land. Well, some people don't got the money to it, you know, because they go 350. And when I got some marriage for me, because it's a mountain, you know, really let's bring the money now, yeah. So, me now, we don't buy the land. Who $2 a square foot? So they need to get $1.50 per square foot because here's the land. And plus again, they say people in town eating out the dump pan, and I ain't giving them no vaccine, but I ain't giving them food, but I ain't the one giving them vaccine. So please put them in a home that they could get good care and attention. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you. Is that all? Have you got your vaccine? Oh, she's gone. That's my Labour friend, my straight dog family. It's 9:37, and as I was saying earlier, we were looking at leadership in the country, business, church, and politics. But let's go back to the lines. At 9:37, we got 23 minutes to go. Call your line.
Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick and I.
Bible man.
Well, long time in the man.
I have heard you for some time.
A long time. Why, you got people who are asking me to anywhere going back, you know. Hello, Bible man. You the Bible man? I say yes. I guess so popular now, everybody get you Bible man. Well, I can be a Bible man until Jesus comes again. Mr. Patrick, I want to tell you something. With the water in the mouth. The Bible is there for everybody to read, understand it, and according to what the Word of God says, the natural man can't discern the things that are spiritual, but they are foolish discern. But I want to say something tonight. A lot of people don't know that it is God put up and God bring down. And I can say it broad and heavy. Promotion is not come from the east, the west, the north, and the south. Promotion come from above. And I want to say, when people believe to themselves that they run things, nobody run things, man. Nobody run things. And God run things here. In every election, is God move. And I'm saying, listen here, whoever wants to bring down the unity government, yeah, let it go ahead. Because when you are kicking against the prick, God can stop you. When God have a hand in it, mind, be careful what you're doing. And I am saying, when God set up a man, leave it alone. David was inspired by God. God moved Saul out the way and put in David. And Mr. Howard will again to be the Prime Minister for St. Kitts Nevis. And God have a hand in it. And nobody, and I'm saying again, nobody who know Mr. Harris from the Prime Ministership unless the Lord says so. I don't know why people just... Let me tell you something. I got one now. Let me tell you something. If 6 years Minachop stroke since the government get in power, and me not got no way to ask somebody for a job. But the good Lord looking after me. I was young, no more. I neither see the righteous forsaken, nor you see begging bread. So I said to myself, God, look after his own. When you seek God, God look after you. naked you shall return. All you receive here, you got to live from here. So you need to receive a fight back. This minute you have, this minute you gone. Mr. Patrick, you take care of yourself, you hear me? And do not let nobody harass you. They got you, and they say, away with the bomb, away. And so they don't want you for now. And don't let nobody harass you. See Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, my brother John James. We call him the Bible man. Yes, as he said, God puts up and he brings down. I think it's found in the Gospel of Luke and Matthew. And it says, I'm paraphrasing here, he that exalted shall be abased, and the humble shall be exalted. Let's go back to the lines at 17 before 10 o'clock. Caller, you're live.
I believe what the emails about them strip club, because Jam don't talk about it last year and nobody addressed it. Some years ago they start one down Lime Keel Estate House.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How you getting so fast on the line? Well, tell us the secret here.
So when I teach you, you can get in? Anyway, time short. And they had one down Lime Keel and Mr. Bracho heard about it. And when Mr. Bracho went down there to break it up, when Mr. Bracho went up on the landing, going in the house, who you think coming out in there? One of the ministers. And when you see Mr. Bracho, he went back to the back. And one went to the cane field, left the car down there. But Mr. Bracho know he was doing it. That is, a lot of laws have been broken in St. Kitts. And they're so obvious, every day you could see them and hear them. And nothing is being done about them. Well, this year, we will not tolerate those kind of things in our Christian society. No naked woman in there stripping up, no nothing. And all kind of worthlessness happen upon stage. Not here. Police, if them is true, are supposed to go around and break them up. I will tell you how to get in. You know the people who are talking, and listen to the tone of the utterance, and you know when they're lowering down to stop. And when they get ready to stop, put in your number. Don't wait till they stop, otherwise you ain't gonna get in. Anyway, good night.
Okay, got you.
Got me.
Thank you very much. Like I said, the operative word, you said, if that is true. But let's go back to the lines at 15 before 10 o'clock as we on the downhill side of tonight's program. Let's go back to the line caller. You're live. Thank you for holding.
You have, this is your program. If anybody tell anybody anything to come on your program, the Prime Minister has his own program. Let them call him and tell him if he building house or buying, it's his business. When he come out of government, them gonna laugh at him and say nothing. We had 3 set of countries have money for St. Kitts. Good night. Get home safely.
Thank you very much. Like I said, if you just join me, we welcome you even at this late time, and we are discussing the issue of leadership. But let's go back to the lines at 14 before 10. Caller, you're live. Okay, we've lost that caller. And we looked at leadership in the church, leadership in business, and leadership in politics. Let's go back to the lines and see if you have this caller this time at 14 before 10 o'clock. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, blessed man.
Blessed, my brother.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're live. Yeah, blessed good evening, man.
Blessed evening to you, my brother.
Yeah. I think I was listening to the convention on Saturday, right? You hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, we're listening to the convention on the Saturday. Good program. But a lady come on and I think she's from Trinidad. And when she uttered on this, she was trying to take credit for the peace initiative, saying what a wonderful program it is. And she said she was a part of structuring that program. You hear me? That program,
but I'm listening.
That program is running over a year now. And I can't hear sensible people who want to take credit for such a foolish thing. Because that program cannot be a peace initiative, you know? You hear me, Patrick? It can't be a peace initiative. How could it be a peace initiative when you're having the victims? The victim of a criminal activity is not a part of the program, and the program alone for a while, you know. So how could anybody take credit for a program like that? A peace initiative must start with the victims. You got to look for the victim first and take care of the victims before you could deal with anybody else or anything else around the peace initiative. So you want a name for the program. I want to know name the program. I know I could be the person that name it. People, you know, vex with me to name it. Can't be peace initiative.
What would you call it?
You only like to hear me. I will name it the next time around. I will name it now. Yeah, blessed good evening, man.
Blessed good evening, my brother. In fact, this is what the psychologist and professor said, and all are victims of crime. I would agree, and I understand your point you're making about the victims, you know. But as from my understanding, when that was introduced, there were several parts that this particular initiative would take, and we are, I think, in phase 1. But this is what, just to be clear, this is what Dr. Nichols spoke about, and she spoke about phase 1, which is the inactivation of the gangs. Here's what she said.
Discrimination in its various derivatives, whether if it's racism, sexism, and so forth. So we immediately went into action. What we will term now, for you to understand, was phase 1, crisis phase, inactivation of the gangs. And that's what we did within weeks. But it didn't stop there. For you to understand the science of dealing with crime, 15 years of my young life went into this throughout the region, understanding the right models that are suited for us in the region. We recognize that part of the scientific response, we had to assist the youngsters in alternative living. Living meaning assisting them in securing jobs. That became part of the responsibility of a government, indeed a scientific response. You couldn't leave them, tell them, get out of crime, no longer involved. They handed over their guns. Within 6 months, we came and reported to the nation through the media and saw the handing over of the guns. And so part of it also involved assisting in removing them from high-risk homes, removing the children of these youngsters who were involved in gang life from high-risk homes. And there it is. Opposition sympathizers began a narrative so unbelievable to me when they said that the government is paying people off to stop, paying the criminals off to stop crime. That's furthest from the truth. That was a scientific response in phase 1. And phase 2, which is where we'll be approaching, involves a little more complicated phase as we assist the youngsters to become independent in their own right. And I know this to work personally because, thank you, I know this to work personally because I was able in my constituency to get 27 gang members off of gang life doing the same thing, channeling their, doing a quick assessment of their talents, channeling their energy into their interests, whether it was being a plumber, electrician, and so forth. But that was the phase 2. Today, after 13 years later, 60% of them own their own small businesses, which is part of what we'll be doing with our, and some already own their own small businesses here. 60% own their small businesses, 30% work in the private sector, and 10% work in the public sector. One of the gangsters who no longer, long past, was able to put her child through medical school. So I said...
So yes, as outlined by Dr. Nicol, McNichol, beg your pardon, it's phase 1, which really dealt with the inactivation of crime, or inactivation of gangs, I should say, is what she said, and the containment of crime, because you haven't had any gang-related crime for over a year now, if my memory serves me well, and we moved from the high of 35 homicides in 2011, and I'm sure the country is at peace, and I believe that's what the good lady was saying, and giving credit, no doubt, to the leadership of the country, and of course our members of the cabinet, to be able to bring back peace to the country. And it's really an alternative lifestyle. And phase 2, from what I understand was said, is going into the entrepreneurship part, where young men can, and women of course, can get into their own businesses as well, my Street Dog family. It's 6 before the 10 o'clock hour, and as we wind down, I'll take a few more calls. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live.
Patches, the elder man there, they were just talking, he nonsense just now. I wonder if he go up in the cemetery and see all these young boys live up here. Eh? That lady did such a marvelous job with the Jamaican guy in national security and petty team to put us where we at right now. It's really going. Still with these other murders that we had, I think in 2015. Why did we come out in this loving country? Eh? We were not seeing this kind of progress. We had never seen it. That is all them ships where you work hard to bring them there and bring a paper. They would never come into that here. How an elder could and the show talking nonsense. What I mean, this is them talking. Where you want to come say? This ain't a peace program. Writers, tell us writers. Come and meet me, man. Come and meet me. I can just come and talk nonsense to people. I think this is the only 60 when people are blind and can't see and think for themselves. This is the best thing we ever see. And Team Unity managed to get it done. And get it done properly. And that's what I know. Because we want the for 20 years, couldn't correct it. He said, you will have any back like that. Then you're in a fall and duck back. That's what he said. God bless Timothy and God bless the king. And the young man from over, rather than the same. God bless the king. He's doing the great job and he's going to wheel. John don't say that.
Thank you.
Since February, groups in the Federation have been a part of the Peace Initiative, which had been several significant outcomes. These members have decided that they would further demonstrate their level of seriousness to the peace effort by relieving themselves of their weapons. To date, the police have received 30 firearms and 73 rounds of sorted ammunition. Such an exercise has never taken place in the history of the police force of our country. When combined with the 13 firearms that the police have been able to take, we now have a total of 43 firearms that have been recovered from the street of our communities.
And that's a lot of firearms recovered in my street dog family. And I am also aware of other programs, right, that have been implemented by the Ministry of Gender Affairs, I think it's called, that protects women who are battered, for persons including battered women. You know, there are also programs that relate to the adoption of children, also counseling programs that are in place as we speak. And there's a men's program, there's also a shelter program. So the social commitment, the social obligation of the government are being met every day as we speak, my Straight Dog family. But as we wind down, I'll perhaps take a few more calls before we wrap this evening's program, and I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
That is again. That is.
So
we got to thank God for the government as getting crime control with our young men used to shoot down one another. That is, when you listen to different radio stations, especially Sugar Walkers radio stations, it seems to me like the grudge and the envy at what the government is doing, and it's trying to hook on things. When you listen to them at the time, that is, the situation of how the country into, when you listen to these cockroachy mouth people from the Sugar Walkers radio stations, you understand? Just talking and nonsense over there and trying to mislead people. That is, I don't know what they're doing with local life. People ain't dying anymore. And that is what I say, so people ain't dying anymore. Because of the curse and the wickedness of the farmer leader and the situation of how he running the country, doing what he was doing. That's why the country ended up in that situation. And the young man them started to kill one another and do one another kind of thing. A God-blessed leader come with unity, government, and try to revamp the thing from out to thinkers. God bless thinkers. So all of them who banging them out, but yes, I just want them to tell them that release the cockroach and release the vent. Release the vent, and then release the vent from the unity government. The unity government is doing well. Well. When I listen to some Kanda talking about, I think it was Thursday, I was on a bus, talking about how that even if the companies them cannot afford to contribute to the severance pay, government supposed to be able to pay the people them. But some kind of was there from 2012 when all kind of different people was laying up from hotels and all kind of name. And could not get pay from 2012 to 2015, 2014 to in 2013. People laying off and can't get pay from the severance pay. And God bring Dr. Timothy Harris and this unity government to fund something back in the severance pay fund to pay some of these people who not get no pay for so long. There's some kind of talking. But that's why I see that, you know. By God, listener, that's why I see that me believe in God. And me going to believe in God. Because what I went through human being in life, I do not believe I could take what I went through human being in life. So I'm going to stick with God. Nobody going to fool me. And that's why the parties are done with the blind political culture in this country. You understand? Parties have a wonderful night. God bless the Federation of St. Nevis. Jackie, you have done a wonderful job with the Prime Minister thing already, the convention, and the thing, and you have done a wonderful job to present your country from in St. Croix. Patches, God bless this sugar city, sink it. I can't say no more. Upset.
Thank you, Mr. Politics. You've surely said a mouthful, don't mind my straight dog family. And as we wind down tonight's programming, I'll take 2 more calls. Caller, you are my penultimate caller. You're live.
Patches.
My dear.
Oh wow, I'm the last caller?
I'll take one more after you.
Okay, yes. As soon as I heard the phone, Patches, I received a WhatsApp from a friend of mine overseas. And when you spoke about your topic tonight, leadership in leadership in the church and leadership in government, I want to touch leadership in government. I want to place on record tonight that the best leadership I alive and well under two particular government, that is this government and the Denzel Douglas government. I was a little teenager under the other government that was Simmons, so I don't really know much. But I can talk about what I know. And I place the two of them together, and this government is the better government. As you say, you're speaking about leadership in churches and leadership in government. That is one of your topics. I want to place a record that this Team Unity government is the best government that I see so far under the leadership of Dr. Timothy Harris. And when my friend called and said that, to tell me echo the same sentiment that I'm echoing, I just want to say tonight that long live Timothy Harris, long live Team Unity government. And I also want to say this, that there has been no death, Patrice, so far, no death from the COVID. So this man, the Prime Minister, he know what he is doing, along with the task force, he know what he is doing. Saying it's under the bad government, the past government, we was doomed. We used to call it Devil Island. We was doomed. We was in darkness. And now, thank God for the Team Unity government, the roads, look at the old roads project. And Patrice, you contributed to it, You contributed to this brightness under the Team Unity government. And I want to place this on record tonight and said to the whole entire world that if you don't like my Prime Minister, that is Dr. Timothy Harris, pass me straight because I don't like you neither. And Patrice, I am not going to withdraw the statement here. If you don't like my Prime Minister, you don't like me because I don't like you neither. So Patrice, you have a blessed night and you get home safe. And I will be hoping that God spare my life that I could tune in again Thursday night. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your input. Always straightforward and to the point. And I'll take one more call for the night, and this will be my wrap. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, I am here. Mr. Patrick?
So?
I love to hear you talk, brother. And when you come back home, I love to see you.
Soon, my brother. Soon.
Well. Patrick, nobody can walk in your footsteps, nobody. Your name is all around this country. When you think about the world, that's you. When you think about the world, that's you. And on to make a call tonight. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Patrick, who God bless, the man cook us. And if you are a good man, are favored by the Lord. And I'm going to tell you more. Psalm 112. Here. And Psalm reading from Psalm 40, blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver you. And because you've been favored by God, because you look after the poor for 5 long years. And that is the reason why you do it for today. When the thing got you gone, no, God raise you up. And I'm saying to Mr. Patrick, you are highly favored. Because you know why? Because you love the poor people. But I'm saying to you here, God is a wonderful God. So, stay with the Lord, Mr. Prophet, and God is going to see you through. And God is going to look after the unity government. Well, you know how to go along, God. We could be a whole story, but I will not say nothing tonight. But one thing I've been saying, that when you don't look after the poor people, God will remove you. And that is the reason why a lot of people right now are suffering, because they take the belly full out of the Prime Minister got the oil. The Prime Minister got the oil. And nobody could take away the oil. He holding on by the oil. Okay, so see you, bye.
Have yourself a wonderful night, my Straight Dog family. And that's the way we're going to end it, my Straight Dog family, because my time is done and I've got to run. And don't you move your dial, because Albert Bradley comes right in. He's already in the hot seat. Tonight we focus on leadership in St. Kitts and Nevis. And with your indulgence, we looked at leadership in business, leadership in the church, and of course leadership in politics. When we consider leadership in business, we called some names, and I had a gross omission, a serious omission. I did not mention Barker and Kelly, or Ken Kelly and Al Barker of Barker and Kelly. Those names must be called as well. George DeLanders, Will Kelsick, Michael King, Charles Brisbane, Kishore Romani, and guys like Michael Morton and so on, right? I spoke to leadership in the church, who have played their part in relation to the spiritual and social uplifting of our people. Many archdeacons and pastors who have been here, and some have gone. Those in the Evangelical Association as well, my Straight Dog family. And we think of leadership in business. Think of Ralph Tota of East Bastia, Nick of East Bastia as well, and many other leaders in business. And if I forget some, you must forgive me. We think of Jerry Warner, yes, my neighbor there on Pond Road, and those, and Mr. Bias, and those leaders in business, my Straight Dog family. And they were ordinary people, and I can go on and on, but my time is done. And then we looked at leadership in politics. We looked at Robert Bradshaw. We looked at Ronald Webster from Anguilla. And don't forget a small ordinary businessman. How can I forget my good friend Bractus over there, Sinclair Bryan over there at Ponds Extension, my Straight Dog family. And we looked as well as the leaders in the past, Vance Amory, Joseph Parry, and we look at those, Kennedy Simmons, how can I forget him, and Simeon Daniel. Then we looked at the current leadership. A lot of discussion surrounded Dr. Sharon Gopal McNichol, and I'm certain, and I can say, that Dr. Sharon Gopal McNichol, in fact, she was a consultant to the Team Unity during his formative years, because she, in fact, was a consultant to that Trinidad coalition under that former Prime Minister. I can't remember the name. But Dr. McNichol is no stranger to St. Kitts and Nevis. As a matter of fact, she advised the CCM during its formative years. And if my memory served me well, I stand to be corrected. She even advised the People's Action Movement as well. So she is no stranger to St. Kitts and Nevis. And she gave us a lot of food for thought. And I'm going to leave something with you before I give you my final wrap. And she made this comment, or as part of her rousing her speech that continues to arouse discussion in St. Kitts and Nevis. She had this to say, my straight dog family.
Certainty in the year 2020 when you did not have to do that. There is no price for this kind of leadership. But it makes me wonder and say, why is it this partnership, the Team Unity partnership, with the leadership of a PLP leader, how is it the coalition work? By the way, it's the first in the region that went beyond the first term. We have had many attempts at coalition, and something happened that allowed me to understand why is it this coalition worked. We know the leadership must have played a significant role. I'm going to raise an issue without getting into any details. It doesn't mean that the coalition did not have challenges in the first term. They did, and any political party all political parties have challenges, but they worked it out together. As they entered their second term, as I said, I'm not going into the detail. I want you to understand the response of this leader to this challenge that happened within the first 2 days of the second term, and I'll end it there. His response was so sterling, so sensitive, so unselfish, that it led me to understand for the first time why coalitions didn't work in the region other than St. Kitts and Nevis. You know why? When problems and challenges are directed to the leaders of coalition parties, their response is a high-handed one. Their response is one of aggression and anger to anyone who dare challenge them. You know what was this Prime Minister's response? I said to him, how are you feeling? You know, the psychologist in me always go with, how are you feeling? Are you disappointed? Are you? And he said, you know what? It's not about me. It's about a nation. He said, we just came out of an election, grueling election. People felt happy, they felt safe. They know they were going to be safe. Another 5 years, and then this happened, and he said, I have to make sure that they are okay. I said, well, what about you? He said, I have to also make sure that the persons who might have diverged and gotten involved in a different way of operating, that they are okay too. That is the essence of this man. Now, I will just zip through some of the obvious qualities that leadership must be embodied in any person.
And yes, my Sridhar family, Sharon Ann Gopal McNichol is a certified school psychologist. She is, in fact, as I said, in her formative years, she is a highly claimed clinical and forensic psychologist, an expert on social diseases such as crime and discrimination. So she is well placed to speak on issues. And as I said, she has advised the team unity government in its formation. She has advised the CCM during its formative years. And she has, in fact, advised the People's Action Movement as well. For my straight dog family, leadership is important. And leadership up today in politics and our government. Leadership in politics helps to influence the behavior of the people of every nation. In our case, the people of this federation. And I leave you with a quote from Jerome Taylor, Associate Professor of Finance at the Babson College here in the US. And quote, he says, with good leadership, you can create a vision and can motivate people to make it a reality. Leadership matters, and today, in these unprecedented times, I submit that leadership matters more than ever. We need the leadership of a man like Timothy, or Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris for the nation. His handling of crime and the economy, and his performance as well in these unprecedented times with the COVID pandemic. My straight dog family, that's the way I'm going to leave you. And in the process, I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the people who have called, those who have sent emails, those of you on social media who exchange your views. Remember, all of you, and of course those who listen to the big station ZIZ. I thank Albert Bradley in the kitchen and John James and Bevan Wilkerson. Without them, there is no straight talk. Without you, there is no straight talk. So I want to say a big, big thank you. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. And for those of you who have sent those kind words of commendation, I want to assure you that when I say I'm peaceful, I am really at peace with my God. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with the world. So I want to thank you. So whenever you go to bed, when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my straight dog family, keep moving on. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. Just, you got to believe. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, keep safe, be good to yourselves, and to all whom we meet. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family.
Give thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest